Welcome to this free immigration help channel. Today is March 24, 2023 and we are getting into volume 41 of me answering your immigration questions and comments. As always, I'm going to mention before I start, I am not an immigration attorney. This is not a legal advice. All the information that I provide in the videos on this channel are directly from official government sources like USCIS. Actually, I have something open here. We're going to go to the homepage. And of course, the Department of State got the most recent visa bulletin pulled up because I'm sure there will be questions about the family immigration petition. So let's start with Smira. Got some love from Smira. Thank you very much, Smira. I appreciate you watching the videos. Let's move on to H digitally. How long does it take after the National Visa Center NVC received from USCIS an approved form I-730? Okay, so whenever it comes to the NVC processing, it really depends on both parties, the NVC themselves, obviously, and you, of course, as an immigrant, doing the stuff, filling out whatever applications, because you will have a few forms on the NVC side to fill out. You know, the if it's a family petition, then you're doing the sponsorship, the affidavit of support. Obviously, you're doing the application for the visa itself at the U.S. Embassy, where the beneficiary, whoever you're petitioning for, will be doing the interview. Obviously, you'll have to provide all the financial documents, all the documents that establish the relationship with the beneficiary, pay the fees. So as fast as you can do that, and once it is reviewed, usually it doesn't take too long for them to review that kind of stuff, usually about 30 to 45 days if everything is good. So once they review it, once it is approved, usually within 30 days, they transfer the case basically to the local US Embassy. And then depending on the availability of the time slots for the interview, for the immigrant visa interview at the US Embassy, they schedule the interview for your beneficiary. So the full process, if you look at it, if there are no delays, for example, let's say you submit something and that is just not enough for them and they want additional information, additional documents, or different kind of documents they requested, something along those lines. If there is no delays like this, usually about 2-3 months for the whole processing, and it should be going to the local U.S. Embassy for your beneficiary. Another thing that obviously you have to keep in mind whenever it comes to stuff like this is the availability of the immigrant visa. Now, you're asking on the I-730 petition, so you know you're petitioning for most likely your spouse, your children, so you don't have to worry about the availability of the immigrant visas. But if you are, if for everybody else who's watching, depending on, and that's where the visa bulletin comes into play, depending on the category of the beneficiary that you're petitioning for, there might be a cap on those visa categories and you might be waiting some extra time. So I'm gonna put this on the plus side. Age digitally, the case is already NVC. It was already approved by USCIS, so you're on the right track. All right, everything is going good so far. All right, let's move on to the next comment from SS. Thank you very much for your suggestion. I will update you after my interview. Hope it goes well. One more question. Okay, so SS, this is a follow-up comment from this person. I've responded to the previous comment. And he had she had a very interesting situation. It was a little bit, it's he because it's all inviting with a wife. But anyway, I'm going to read the whole comment, and then I'll briefly explain the situation. So I'm a French citizen, naturalized, and my wife is not. She's from Nepal. What if I get the immigrant visa and I get my wife to US in tourist visa and get married in US, or both? We go to Nepal and get married, and I do the petition for her. Thank you. Okay, that is actually an interesting a possibility that you can definitely keep in mind. In fact, instead of doing just a regular non-immigrant visa, what you can do for her is instead of doing the tourist visa, you can do a fiancé visa for her. So you can apply for the fiancé visa for her, invite her as your fiancé, and then do a marriage here in the United States, and then, like you said, petition for her, do a separate I-130 petition. That, of course, adds a whole range of additional steps for you to deal with, but it seems to be probably the best solution in your situation. Why? Because you're still getting your immigrant visa, and now you have the opportunity to invite your as a fiance, invite her and then do the marriage here in the United States, and then petition for her while she is already here, so you guys won't even have to be separated. So that does sound like a very reasonable solution in that situation. So good luck with your interview, and yeah, if you can provide an update of how it goes, I would be definitely looking forward to that. All right, let's move on to the next comment from RA. Thank you for everything. You're very welcome. Thank you for watching. I missed your live, unfortunately. No worries at all. I've been going live for like almost every day, so no problems at all. I was wondering if you could answer my question. My permanent residency expires this October, 7 months from today. I submitted my application to renew yesterday and didn't realize I miscalculated. I was supposed to apply within 6 months. No more than 6 months. Will my application get denied, and will they keep my money? 6 months. Okay, you know what? Let me double check something, and I'm gonna use this as an opportunity to demonstrate some navigation on USCIS.gov. And we're gonna go into the forms. We're gonna go into all forms. That's where you can find all of the forms for whatever it is, immigration purposes. All of the forms are here. So we're gonna type in 90 because we're gonna need the form I-90, which is application to replace permanent resident card, which is what is RA is referring to. So I'm gonna open up the instructions because I want to check on that 6 months rule. So if you click, because this is a PDF file, so you can search within this PDF file by clicking Control F and just typing in 6, and I'm gonna try 6 months. And no, nothing comes up with 6 months at all. Obviously, with this just number 6, it does come up. Nope, no, just the numbers. 6 months. 6 months. And the reason why I'm doing this, because 6 months. So 6 months, it would be 180 days. So let me check 180 days. Nope, nothing 180. The reason why I'm doing this is because I'm not recognizing this rule. So I'm thinking maybe it's something new, but in the instructions it's not coming up. So I'm gonna ask you to please submit a follow-up comment if you can. Where are you getting that rule from, that 6 months rule, that you cannot apply earlier than 6 months? Because I want to do more research on it, because I am not aware of a rule like this, that you cannot apply for a renewal green card 6 months earlier than the expiration. So if you could follow up with a comment, I would really appreciate it, because I don't think I've heard of this rule, and as you can see, this rule is not coming up in the instructions, and of all the places it would have been in the instructions, because that's what you use in order to fill out this form. Now I'm gonna, will my application get denied, and will they keep my money? Okay, if this rule is really not in place, obviously you don't have to worry about any of that. It's not going to be denied just because you submitted it earlier. If this rule is in place, however, if I am missing something, if I, for whatever reason, I cannot find it in the instructions, 7 months and you're submitting it 6 months, you probably, did you submit it online? If you have submitted online, obviously then they have the date of them reviewing your application would be the date where they kind of accepted the application. And I'm assuming if there is this rule, if there really is the 6 months rule in place, then they would judge based off the date that they accepted it, which is probably any time in the next few days from now, because once you submit it online, the application, once you pay for it, it's already basically at the desk of the immigration officer. They just need to review it. So it's very quick compared to mailing the form. So you still have a few days, and I don't think they're gonna be that picky anyway, even if the 6 months rule is in place. I would not recommend, withdrawing an application or anything like that, or filing a different application, because then you definitely losing your money for sure. When you withdraw the application, you lose your money. So please follow up. I think that's really what I need. Where did you hear about this 6 months rule? Because I do not recognize that. And for everyone who's watching this video, if you are submitting a follow-up comment, please submit it as a separate comment. Do not respond to my comment here within your comment, because for some reason I don't get the notifications. The responses do not show up on my wall here for whatever reason. I don't know why, but that's just how YouTube does. I don't know why. All right, let's move on to the next one from Freewood Demisi. Thank you very much for the quality and good work you do. Thank you for watching. Can't pass without appreciating you. God bless you. God bless you too. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. All right, moving further to the next comment from Susan Atkins. Good night, sir. How can I get my widow's benefits insurance? I was approved in 2021, but I can't get a visa to return to the US for 30 days. I live in Trinidad. The embassy keep denying me a B1 visa under the section 2014 denied. I'm very sorry, Susan, that you're going through this. It's unfortunately, I can definitely relate, because I am from the country where the U.S. embassy is very, it's just rough, you know. It's, you go for you know, you have all the documents, you're showing the invitation from your relative, you're going to visit your, you know, U.S. citizen brother or whoever, and then you get a denial for absolutely no reason. It's dumb, but unfortunately that's how a lot of U.S. embassies are, especially whenever it comes to non-immigrant visas like B1, B2. So in your situation, I'm assuming, again, it's an assumption, and actually I'm going to ask you again if you can follow up with a comment with more information. Was your spouse U.S. citizen? Because if they were a U.S. citizen, then you have another option that you can do. You can submit a I-360 petition, which is a petition for a widower of a U.S. citizen, and basically start an immigration process for yourself. This is one of the only options where you can petition for yourself, basically, and you're petitioning for yourself based on the fact that your spouse was a U.S. citizen. And I think that might be a little bit of a better option in this situation. Why? Because you have to be dealing with all this insurance and all of this stuff. And obviously, as even if you do get a tourist visa and come here, it might be harder to deal with this compared to if you came already here into the United States as a resident. And it's not going to take too long. I mean, it will take some time. It's definitely going to take longer than just going in the U.S. embassy, as you know, and asking for a non-immigrant visa and just getting a non-immigrant visa in your passport and then coming to the United States. Definitely fast. This is definitely a faster option, but you're not gonna have to deal with the consul that is being stubborn and doesn't want to give you a visa to come into the United States to handle the business of your deceased spouse. It's honestly, it's really bad. It's ridiculous. It should be, this embassy, this consul that denied you a visa, they should be ashamed of themselves. They should be ashamed of themselves. But this is the only thing I would recommend as of right now. I think it would be a much better option. If your spouse was a U.S. citizen. So if you could come back and follow up in the comments, that would be helpful, and I would be able to provide a little bit more information. But that seems to be like the best route in your situation for now. Check it out. You can check it out online on this website, official U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services website, and it's, like I said, all forms. Form 360, and that's gonna be I-360 petition for Asian, which is a whole separate category, and then widower, that is in your case, and the special immigrant. They have a few other categories that you can look into. All right, so let's move on to the next one from Ahmed. You sell to root. I'm very sorry if I'm mispronouncing the names. How many days it takes decision for I-765 online apply? Category C8. Okay, so category C8 is a pending asylum. So let's take a look. I'm going to use this as an opportunity to demonstrate again some navigation on USCIS USCIS website. We're gonna go to the main homepage, and then we're gonna click into Tools right here at the very top of the navigation menu, and then we're gonna go into the case status online, and here you can check if you have the receipt number. You can put your receipt number, and it will tell you in which stage your case is. But we're gonna click on USCIS processing times information, visit page. Probably an easier way to get to this, but this is what I'm used to. 765, application for employment authorization. Category is going to be C8, which is, there we go, pending asylum. Now, I don't know if it's a renewal or initial application. You didn't specify, unless you did. Nope, you didn't, but that's fine. I'm going to check both. And then you didn't specify the service center, but there are only 2 of them. So let's take a look at both of them. Okay, see notes. That's not a bad sign. That's actually a good sign. If you have applied for initial employment authorization based on pending asylum application, you may be eligible to have your EAD processed within 30 days. So that's really good, actually. If you are applying based on if it's initial application, so within 30 days, and I'm pretty sure it is for both. Let's take a look. Yep, that is the case for both of the service centers in Potomac and Texas. So within 30 days, it should be processed. So again, if you can let me know in the comments below, how long ago did you apply? I would be, maybe we could estimate it a little bit better, because it looks like they are promising to process your application within 30 days, which is great. It's really good news. All right, let's move on to the next question from Tarot by Sigrun. What if it's me and my hubby? I'm immigrant, but my hubby is American, and I'm trying to sponsor my son. My hubby don't file taxes. He's disabled. Don't meet requirement, but I file. How will that go? Okay, that is actually a really good question. So that in this case, let's see. So I'm assuming you're saying you're an immigrant, but do you already have a permanent resident card? So there are 2 ways actually you can go about this. If you are a legal permanent resident, right, you can petition for your son yourself, all right? It will take longer to process regardless compared to a US citizen, but you're filing the petition yourself. You got the access, to the NVC portal once it is approved by USCIS, and obviously you are the sponsor yourself. And if you're filing the taxes and have enough income, then you're fine, right? So you don't even have to bother your husband. But there's an option where your husband files the petition for your son, all right, as a US citizen, which will be processed faster. And I'm going to actually show you. Let's take a look right here. So we're going to go into the processing times once again, and we're going to go into the petition I-130 from a category. Let's see. So permanent resident, there you go. Permanent resident filing for a child under 21. And depending on which service center, I'll just select Texas. Let's keep it just as an example. So 17 months for a permanent resident, approximately, in Texas. But if we do a US citizen filing for spouse or child under 21 in Texas, we get 12 months. Not a huge difference. In this particular example. But again, depending on which service center the petition goes to, the times might, the difference between the 2 might be more substantial. But I think probably the best case scenario, if your husband doesn't mind doing it with you and basically filing the petition himself as a petitioner, that probably would be faster regardless, because he is a US citizen. So the second option is he files the petition for your son. Once it is approved by USCIS, once it is transferred to the NVC, he will have to be a sponsor regardless. So he will have to fill out his sponsorship information, and then right before submitting it to the NVC for the review, right, the final submit when all the documents are uploaded, he will have to add another sponsor, and you can be a joint sponsor on this application and go as a joint sponsor. Now it shows enough income because you're showing all your, all the tax returns, all the tax transcripts, and all the good stuff. But the petition, initial petition, is from your husband. So it's processed faster, and you're still as a joint sponsor. So that's two options. I think the second option is better because it is going to be faster. But let me know if I'm missing any of the information, or if there is any other important information that I need to know. Like, for example, your status. Because if you do have a legal permanent resident status, then you can just file it all yourself. It will just take longer than your husband filing for your son. All right, let's move on to the next comment question from Ohali Chimizi. Hello, sir. I am from Nigeria. F4 category. Okay, so F4 category is brothers, sisters of US citizens. Priority date was March 2007. Documentarily qualified March 2020. Please, when can I get my interview appointment? Thank you. Okay, so congratulations on being documentarily qualified. That's definitely great news. And it sounds like your interview should be now, anytime soon. And I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna show you the visa bulletin, which I think you should be familiar, because I mean, you've been waiting for so long already, so you should be pretty familiar with the visa bulletin. But for everyone who's watching, I'm gonna demonstrate this as an opportunity to demonstrate the navigation on the visa bulletin. So we're gonna go off the priority date. Why? Because it's the much earlier date compared to the documentarily qualified date. And the reason why I usually go, because if there is a big difference between the priority date and documentarily qualified date, because a lot of times either USCIS, depending on which service center the application goes to, or the NVC themselves, they wait until actually reviewing your case closer to the availability of the immigrant visa for a particular category. So in this case, you can clearly see that they have been waiting for the availability of the immigrant visa. That is why there is a huge 13-year gap between two dates. So with that being said, let's go to the visa bulletin. This is the visa bulletin for April 2023, which came out 2 days ago. It's the most recent, the most updated numbers. And we're gonna scroll down. Instead of final action dates, we're gonna scroll down to the dates for filing. Again, why? Because there's a huge gap between the two dates. And we're gonna go to the F4 category, which is brothers and sisters of adult US citizens. So F4 category, and as you can see, as of right now, March, April 2023, the visas, the immigrant visas, are becoming available for the immigrants that have been waiting, for the beneficiaries that have been waiting since December 2007, when USCIS received their case. That is the original priority date, right? So there is 16 years a delay. So your case is March 2007. So you are just like a few months away from catching up to this date right here. As you can see, 16 years, and you have been waiting 16 years from 2007. So literally within the next few months, I would say you should be getting your interview. Your immigrant visa should be becoming available, and once it is available, NVC transfers the case to the local US embassy, and then they schedule the interview. So I'm pretty sure it should be this year. Now, these numbers, again, it's very rough. With the estimation, as it gets closer, it becomes a little bit more accurate, but still it is pretty rough because there is a backlog, and because of the whole pandemic stuff, we had some backlog of these immigrant visas because there were no immigrant visas being issued at all. So these do kind of take a little bit longer, but like I said, anytime in the next few months, I would say by December, you should be definitely getting your case transferred to the local US embassy and getting your interview. All right, moving on to Narina Zam. Thank you. You're very welcome. Thank you for watching. Pretty happy. Thank you. You're very welcome. Thank you for watching. All right, moving further to Sajid Bashir. My case was approved in 28, sorry, it was, a lot of reading, a lot of talking. In 28 December 2020, I'm still waiting interview, F2A category. Okay, so Sajid, unfortunately, F2A category, it's one of those categories that kind of got hit quite a lot in the past couple of years. And the reason why is because, again, this whole dumb situation with the pandemic and the closures that basically US government and governments around the world, they decided to partake in and just cut everything off and stop, which was a ridiculously dumb idea, but whatever, it's, you know, it's my personal opinion. But because of that, F2A category got hit the most, and the reason why I got hit the most is because there is no cap on these immigrant visas that are being issued for F2A category. And the F2A category, if you look at it, is the spouses and children of permanent residents. So obviously there is no cap for a category like this. As soon as you apply, as soon as your case is approved by USCIS, as soon as it is approved by NVC, the visa is already available, right? But you will see that a lot of people, for whatever reason, with this F2A, you know, in this F2A category, who have the beneficiaries waiting for the F2A category, basically immigrant visa, to become available, they are still waiting for the interviews. And we just found out, like 2 days ago, literally, from the visa bulletin, that there is now a backlog, an artificial backlog, not like a backlog on other categories, but an artificial backlog on these F2A category visas, as you can see. And now they are showing about 3 years of delay on them. And why I'm saying we just found out, because I will show you, if we go back to the visa bulletin and we go to the March, which is the previous month's visa bulletin, you will see, and I'm gonna click on it, you will see that for F2A, just in March, it was showing current for all chargeability areas. And now in April, it's showing a 3-year backlog, which is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. That's what it is, because it's permanent residents waiting for 3 years for their spouses and their children to join them. It's crazy. Okay, so this kind of stuff makes a lot of people upset, and including me too, because when I look at this is just, you get the point. So unfortunately, the only thing I can offer to you with your question is just some information, kind of like shedding some light on this. Now you know why. It's because all of these cases, they were completely just left frozen on somebody's desk. Why? Because for a year or a year and a half, whatever, they were not processing anything. So on top of the stuff that they were supposed to do, they had new applications, and now there's just this whole bunch. So I really hope that within the next year, this is going to be cleared up, and this is not the final dates. So like in reality, you don't have to wait 3 years. I hope that they speed up, but we will see. I do every month. Every month the new visa bulletin comes up, I make a separate video. I have just made a separate video for April 2023 if you want to learn a little bit more. But when the May comes out, I think we're gonna have a little bit better answers, because we will be able to compare the dates in April and the dates in May. So if you want to see that video, make sure to subscribe to this channel, because it will be coming up at the end of April when the new visa bulletin comes up. I will be definitely making this video. So I'm very sorry that you have to wait, because honestly, anybody with F2A category, they shouldn't be waiting. And if I'm completely honest, none of these people here, they should be waiting for. There shouldn't be a cap on the immigrant visas. Why? Because these people, you do the petition, you pay all the fees, you yourself go through all the background checks, because you yourself, as a permanent resident, as a naturalized US citizen, you go through all these things. You pay the fees, you go through background checks, you go through courts, you go through interviews, and then you invite your family, who also goes through all of that stuff. All of that stuff. They don't have no criminal history. They don't have no diseases or anything like that. They want to come here and they want to legally live here. living here, paying taxes. You sponsor them too. So they cannot even come here and request government assistance because you sponsor them. They are only an asset for the country. They don't take away anything from the country. They only bring to the country. And yet, these people have to wait for years. 4 years. And you've seen some like Ohali. Ohali been waiting already since 2007. 16 years this person was waiting. 16 years doing everything legally, paying all the fees, going through all the background checks and the medical examination that he will have to go through before the interview. It's ridiculous. All right, let's move on to the next comment from Enhtuya. Definitely mispronounced that. I'm very sorry. Altangerel. Thank you so much for detailed answering questions with video. You're very welcome. Thank you for watching and thank you for asking. Do you mind if I ask? Not at all. If I ask that if person came to USA about 20 years ago and has I-94 number but lost her passport that issued with visa, how can she answer her passport number? Thank you again. You're very welcome, and you can ask as many questions as you want for everyone. That goes for everyone. Ask as many questions as you want, because without your questions, these videos, they would not be possible. So as many questions as you have, you're very welcome to ask. Okay, so in your situation, because it really was 20 years ago, so it might not be as of an important as information, what you can do is where there is a passport number section, you can just put unknown. All right, and then in the additional, the supplemental page of the application, just put mention the unit number, the page number, right, that you're referring to, and then in additional supplemental box that say that the passport, the original passport, it was lost 20 years ago. So if they really do need to concentrate on and usually they don't. Usually they don't care that much about this kind of stuff, especially from 20 years ago. But if they do, at least they have that little paragraph that explains the situation to them and says, hey, the original passport, it was lost 20 years ago and there is no way for us to recover that. And that shouldn't be a problem. I'm pretty sure it should not be a problem at all. But explanation, it always helps. It always helps. All right, let's move on to the next one from Pedro Gonzalez. And I know we're going over the 30-minute mark, but I really want to catch up to everyone. So I have 4 more questions. I've already done mark. And so we're going to go through these 4 for the end of this video. So let's go. Pedro Gonzalez Elias. Can I pay the I-539 form with debit card? Yes, you can. What about a transfer app such as Wise? No, you can't. And don't even try. I would not recommend doing that. That's not a good idea. Can I use another person's card? Yes, you can. And just complete the information, or I have to specify on who this person is, complete some sort of form with this person's info. Okay, Pedro, really good questions. So yes, you can definitely pay I-539 with a debit card. You can pay other forms that are not available online with debit card too. You just have to submit that authorization form, basically, with all the credit card, debit card information, right? With the online forms, it makes it much simpler, because once you're done with the application itself, before you submit it, you have an option to pay it. Very straightforward, just like you would do your online shopping. You're just shopping on USCIS, basically, for the form. I would not even touch any transfer apps. Don't mess with those. That is definitely not a good idea. You can't pay with that, and even if there was a way to figure out how to pay with that, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't risk it. If you're mailing a form, I would stick to the check. This is the best way to do it. If you are filling the form online, I would stick to paying with a debit card or the credit card. Now, you can definitely use another person's check, right, with a mailed form, or another person's debit card, credit card to pay for the application. But I would personally, this is just a personal recommendation. This is not any kind of regulation or law or anything like that. But I would personally recommend using your own check in your name, your own debit card, credit card. If it's impossible to do, then yes, you can use another person's. It's not going to be a problem. I never seen a case where there was a problem, but just my personal recommendation, if you can use your own, use your own, just to be on the safe side. Always you're trying to, whenever it comes to applications, whenever it comes to filing any kind of case with USCIS or NVC or anybody, always try to do it as carefully, preventing any potential mistakes, any potential questions. Because if you do it with another person's name, you never know. Maybe 5 years down the road, when you're going through your naturalization, on the interview they ask you, you know, on your initial petition, I-130 or I-539 or whatever application that you're filling out, whatever, right? Whatever kind of process, because they have the access to all that information, because that's who you're submitting to. They'll say, hey, who is this person who paid for your application? Do you really want questions like this? Probably not, all right? So in order to prevent those, we want to make sure that we are straight line. Okay, moving further to Martin Bayanov. I'm about to write a letter to the government, but I wanted to see first if you can provide some template or script for writing the letter professionally. Thanks in advance. Martin, thank you for watching, and you're very welcome. Thank you for that. It's a great question. So whenever it comes to writing, depending on who you're writing to, let's see. So you clearly have the problem with USCIS case that you're filing a complaint form or basically a request or just basically a letter to whoever it is that you're filing to, maybe a senator, maybe some other elected official, or maybe to USCIS or whoever. So there is really no template specifically for doing things like this. What you want on the letter is who the letter is from, right? So it's your information, your name, your address, your contact information, email and phone. To who the letter is. So to, let's say, US Senator, whoever, their address, their phone number, all right? The date of this letter as you're writing it, and then a brief, dear sir or madam, right? Professional, or addressed maybe to the person's name if it's a specific senator, dear senator, whoever. I am, your name, Martin Bayanov, date of birth, blah, blah, blah. Writing you this letter because my case number, blah, 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 is taking forever to process at USCIS. I have already submitted my, right? You're showing all the steps that you've already taken to address the issue, and then you describe that the issue was not resolved, and then you tell them what you're requesting from them, and you tell them, could you please take a look and help me resolve this situation with this case, for example, if it's taken too long, right? If this is the problem. So you describe your problem, you identify yourself, you describe your problem, you present all the steps that have already been taken to resolve that problem, and that they were not resolved, and now you're requesting help from whoever you're sending the letter to. And then just, sincerely, thank you for consideration. Again, your phone number. If you need to contact me, here's my phone number. You can reach out to me at my phone number. And that's really it. Obviously, accompanying the letter, you definitely want to attach some identifying information, like the receipts from USCIS showing that the case number, that there is an actual case, maybe some kind of identifying information for you. You don't have to, for the most part, whenever it comes to reaching out to senators and elected officials. Just the receipt from USCIS will be helpful, but as long as you mention it in the letter itself, that should be good. And you know what? I will probably make a separate video specifically on how to write a correspondence like this. This probably would be helpful. All right, moving further to the next question from Bayre. Very well said, and I find it very helpful. I'm glad. Thank you. However, very interesting question for you. My EAD card has expired and planning of renewing, but on the application there's a question, what is your eligibility category? I entered US as a refugee and have my I-94. So I'm struggling picking the right answer. Your response and answer will be so appreciated. Thank you. Well, you're very welcome. Thank you for the question. So let's see. So if you enter the US as a refugee and you got your EAD card as a refugee, and now your card is expiring and you are renewing it. So it depends on your eligibility. So if you are still in this refugee status, then you will be renewing your EAD as a refugee. So if we go to, again, forms, I'm gonna go to 765. So we have that, and I'm gonna tell you exactly the category for the refugee. That category can be found in the instructions. There we go. Let's see. Boom. Instructions. And like I said, this is a PDF, so you can search within this file the separate keywords, which is always helpful. So we're gonna type in refugee. There we go. So adjustment applicant under if you are an SLE. So no, this is not for it. This is not for us. Next. Actually, you know what? Let's go back to this. Nope, that's not it. That's definitely not it. Refugee, refugee. If you're a refugee, there you go. For example, if you're a refugee applying for an EAD, type or print A3. So I guess it's the A3 category. Let's double check that. A3. Oh yeah, look at that. It's the very first one. Asylum refugee categories. A3. Okay, so if you are still in that refugee status, then you're just putting the same category that you put on your initial EAD application, which is going to be A3. But if your status has changed and it is now, although I'm pretty sure you're still a refugee status, because the only status change that you would experience from refugee to the next stage would be becoming a permanent resident. And when you're a permanent resident, you don't even need to worry about the employment authorization document, because being a permanent resident already gives you a right to legally work in the United States of America. So I'm pretty sure you're still a refugee, so it's just going to be A3 category that you will be selecting. All right, let's move on to the very last question for today in this video from Enzama Dennis. Hi, thanks so much. You're awesome. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. May I know which month can I apply for F1 visa? And tell me about I-20 and I-109 and fees. Thanks. Okay, Enzama, so good question. I'm not as experienced whenever it comes to the student visas, which is F1, that's what it is, non-immigrant student visa. And I-20, it's the form basically that the university issues, showing the status that you have been accepted as a student. So whenever it comes to which months you can apply, it really doesn't matter. It really depends on the university when their classes start. So let's say you found a school here in the United States and you want to apply for the school. You have to reach out to them. You have to ask them what the application process is. They will send you the application form. They will tell you the application fee, which documents you need, the diplomas, whatever. So once you submit it to the university, you're not dealing with USCIS, you're not dealing with US Embassy at all, not yet, all right? Once you submit it all, if you are accepted to that university, they will send you the letter of acceptance. All right. With the letter of acceptance, there will be obviously you will have to pay the tuition, part of tuition, maybe first semester, maybe for depending on the university, they all have different rules, right? So you will make the payment for that tuition. Once you pay the tuition, they will issue you the I-20 saying that that's it. You have been accepted to their program, whatever it is, and that's it. You just need to go to that with that form to the US Embassy and basically get your F1 visa. And there are a few other things, like you mentioned, the I-109, there's the CVS fee, like an insurance for a few things. But whenever it comes to that stuff, the university, they will make sure they have, each university, they have, well, I wouldn't say each, all big universities, all the big schools, they have their kind of like a internal department that deals specifically with international students, and they send you all the information that you need to fill out, all the fees that you need to pay, like the CVs, like the whatever. And basically all you're doing is just, for the most part, filling out your information, paying the fees, and then going to the US Embassy with all this document package and saying, hey, I was accepted to the university, can I get the visa and go study in the United States? So everyone, thank you very much for asking your question. Always appreciate it. It allows me to make videos like this, and hopefully the answers that I provide specifically to your questions are also helpful to other people who are watching videos. So do not hesitate to ask as many questions as you have. As always, thank you very much for watching. God bless, and I'll see you in the next video.